all, and welcome to the 2016 Past and Future Presidential Debate on CNN. My name is Barbara Walters. Thank you to our sponsors, Goldman Sachs, Lehman Brothers, JP Morgan, Merrill Lynch, and many others.
We need to break up the big banks.
Here tonight we have with us Senator Bernie Sanders.
Hello all, thank you for having me.
And President Hoover.
How are ya?
Good evening, gentlemen. Thank you so much for joining us tonight. Will the two of you please share your opening statements with the audience?
Actually, Barbara, how about I'll go first?
President Hoover, please share your opening statement.
All right. I support high incarceration because I believe there needs to be a strict justice system if there should be a peaceful society. I prioritize the existence of a crime-free society, as well as the punishment of the criminals that are invading our streets. We cannot have a lenient criminal justice system. We need to keep these criminals locked up and not on parole, because they will have too much freedom for being criminals. If criminals were to serve more time in prison, they would tend to not repeat their actions that brought them in front of the criminal justice system at first.
President Bernie Sanders, your opening statement, please.
Thank you, Barbara. Remember, you're a great man. I don't agree with you. We have a problem in America today. We need to change the system. We incarcerate hundreds of thousands of people every year who can't make a living wage for their families. We imprison first-time drug offenders with mandatory minimum sentencing that destroys families and kills their communities. We need to stop racially discriminating our prisoners and imprisoning them because of their race for first-time drug offenses. They're crowding our prisons. They're killing our economy. I hope to increase parole and pardons for these first-time offenders who have not committed violent crimes in their life. Thank you, Barbara.
Thank you, gentlemen, for sharing your opening statements. Our discussion today will center around how criminal justice is carried out in Philadelphia and how it will be in the future. Please draw upon past events, policies, and agencies, and predict how crime will be handled and therefore law administered in the year 2026. So the first question I have tonight for you gentlemen is, what have the incarceration rates been like since you've been in office?
Well, you see, the problem we have today in America is we incarcerate a disproportionate number of minorities and people of color. And why is this?
Disproportionate.
Yes, President Hoover, disproportionate number. And the problem is, Donald Black spoke of a vertical dimension of law in his work, A Theory of Law. And he explains how, in a spectrum with the rich at the top and the poor and impoverished at the bottom, law often travels from the top to the bottom in a legal proceeding. And when the rich carry out law against the poor, it is more intense than when the poor carry it out versus the rich. And this is not right.
President Hoover?
Well, Barbara, the incarceration rates have been getting higher from previous years. My fellow friend, President Coolidge, during his time, General Smedley Butler in Philadelphia really brought in the arrests and the criminals, which is what I'm trying to attain as well during my presidency. I'm trying to continue this trend of keeping criminals incarcerated and not keeping them on the streets, and just allowing the people to understand that I want them to be safe.
Looks like we have a question from the audience. Please have your name.
Kylie. President Hoover, this question's for you. With the higher incarceration rates, how do you plan on dealing with the large amounts of prisoners, and how do you plan on funding it?
Thank you, kind civilian. As for the incarceration rates, yes, I understand that there's a lot of arrests occurring and many people going to prison. However, I do believe that there's a way in order to do this. And it's going to be the support from every person in America, really. We will need to raise taxes a bit. This will help create more infrastructure for prisons and for the people that we need to put in them, the criminals that we need to put in them.
Now from both representatives, I would like to hear Please share with us the incarceration statistics during your term and at the end of your term.
Yes, so before my term, the incarceration rates were high, relatively high. However, they began to increase again. Before my term, it was about a few thousand, maybe 4,000 or 5,000 people incarcerated in prisons, criminals. And during my term, it began to increase once again, going to around 6,000, 7,000. The numbers are a little off. I'm not exactly sure, but I mean, I do want the incarceration rates to continue to increase.
Senator Sanders?
Thank you. Throughout this time, we imprisoned more people than any other country on earth. However, in the past several years, that rate has slowly but steadily declined. Throughout my years as president, this number will drop even more. We will imprison less people for minor offenses. Thank you.
Now, we'd also like to hear from both candidates. What are your thoughts on parole? President Hoover?
Thank you, Barbara. I understand that the parole numbers are relatively high for my presidency, about 18%, I think. I do want that number to decrease because I believe that, as I said in my opening statement, that the criminals should not be left on the streets. They should not be monitored. I believe that they should just be incarcerated and kept under the criminal justice system's surveillance.
Senator Sanders, can we please hear your view?
Mr. Hoover touched on a number. 18% of people in our daily prisons are under probation or parole. Now, he wants to decrease that number. However, I want to increase that number. 23% of people in our prisons are already sentenced. That number needs to go down. Putting more people on parole will increase the amount of people we can hold or actually sentenced for real violent crimes in our prisons, while allowing those accused of minor crimes to get back to their families and work and contribute to our society. I want the numbers of parole to increase.
That is
Thank
not
you.
justified. We do not need that number to increase. We need that number to decrease.
Now, Senator Sanders, we recently heard about your idea of the Safe Camp. Can you please explain to us this idea and its purpose?
The Philadelphia Safe Camp program started in 2014. It essentially allows homeowners to place cameras on the inside or outside of their property to assist the police and protect their home from intruders and thieves and vandalism. Now, to encourage this program, police will give the homeowners money for home improvements, or if they're a business owner who also have a camera, give them money for their improvements, up to $3,000 per residence to improve their overall home. Since 2014, over 5,000 total cameras have been placed in or around houses in the Philadelphia area. And the SEPTA police also will start to our body cams to increase security on our trains and subways. Well, I've just about said it, people. Our rates are too damn high. Too many people are incarcerated every day in America for minor offenses at that. Violent criminals do deserve to be locked up, and they are a threat to our security. But first-time drug offenders, small-time offenders do not deserve to be in prison. Only 18% of people in our prison system are on parole. That number needs to be higher. Our prisons are overcrowded. There's too many people. They can't accommodate all these people. That's why there's violence and war within our prisons. Allowing more of these non-violent criminals to walk free and return to their families and friends will only help the economy and their people. Thank you.
Thank you, Senator Sanders. However, I am opposing many of his views, actually all of his views. I do want the incarceration rate to continue to increase. This will help our streets. As I said earlier, that it will just help the people around in our communities, and it will make us create more space between law and the communities, because we need law to push down on these criminals more than the people in our communities. And I understand that, and I will put forward as much effort to make sure that these people get off of our streets, these criminals, and that we incarcerate them, and that we keep them there. Thank you.
Now that we've heard both closing statements from both candidates, we are going to take it to the audience now to get their point of views, whether they'd like an increase in incarceration or a decrease in incarceration. All in favor for President Hoover and increasing incarceration rates, say aye.
Boo. Boo.
You people.
All those in favor of Senator Sanders and decreasing incarceration rates?
I'm with Bernie.
Well, there you have it, folks. Let's see if Senator Sanders will bring us to this decrease in 2026. Thank you so much all for joining us tonight. I want to thank again our two candidates for joining us, and I hope you all have a wonderful night. Thank you.